Hello all, and welcome back to First Impressions, where I'm doing my first impression of Captain Marvel, and as you can tell by my chipper attitude, I really like the movie. And, I forgot, note, this is actually my second time recording it, because I forgot to use the correct setup. Whoops. Right, okay, so, what, I have to remember most of what I said, right, yeah. One thing that positive about how negative I was in my Spider-Man Homecoming review is it means that people can't accuse me of being a fanboy for liking this movie because I don't like Captain Marvel for one, and I love Spider-Man for two, and yet I gave his movie, well no, I love Peter Parker, and I gave his movie a negative review. I'm not entirely sure if I'd like calling my movies reviews anymore, because that implies I put a massive amount of thought into it. While I try to do a little analyzation, I'm mostly just coming off the fresh movie high. And it was only Homecoming that left me, that managed to be bad enough, to my tastes, of that, or at least awful in a specific way that ensured that high didn't last until after the review. Anyways, so like always, I was gonna say, like always, I list the free favorites and free things I liked and free things I really disliked, but I think I'll first start with, again, like I was doing last time, they're doing in the movie theater, I saw a trailer for the live-action Dumbo movie, and I'm like, oh, freaking course they are. I'm just like, I have to get that out, because why would you do this? These movies, these live-action versions can't be making any money, any real money. Nobody likes them. Right, okay, ow. I hurt myself before the movie, and it's starting to kick in, soreness wise, so if I start to say ow or anything, that's why. Now, the free things I liked. Most of these, I should mention, will be spoilers, so I'm not going to go into them yet. Spoiler warning's not up yet. But I can name at least one or two of them off for both categories. One off for both categories, I think. We'll start with first thing I really liked, and I'll get to the others when I get there. First thing I really liked, instead of the usual Marvel hero opening where they show video clips of the different heroes, they only showed clips of one hero, Stan Lee. That, and then they did the normal cameo after that, and I love that. The last movie film made after his death, and the first movie made after his death. I hope that people are right and he did film some more cameos for later. Given how soon Endgame is coming out, I have very little doubt he's not going to be in it. And I'm hoping they do something similar, because I think out of any movie, that's what he deserves the most. That thing deserves most to be in. It's the culmination of everything. And oh yeah, this is the first Marvel movie, MCU movie I've been to when it came out in years! Yay! Right, okay, second thing. It's a, thing from later on way later on the movie, so not gonna get into it, but... Just remember it. Let's see. There were a lot of things I liked, but... thinking. It's hard to pick a favorite for the third one. I know the first two right off the bat, but the third one, I think this is why I should have written it down ahead of time. I used to do that. I keep forgetting. You know what? I think I'll have to go with something. Early on in the movie? Yeah, I think that might. Fairly early on in the movie? Yeah, I think I might go with that. I know the moment, yeah. That one I'll get to sooner. Things I disliked. Well, there's the and it happens throughout the movie, its culmination is the end, so I'm just going to count that all as one. There's the, Give me a moment. The incompatibilities with, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. canon that this stuff brings up. I'm sure people figure out a way of smoothing it over, but it just doesn't seem like it would work. That's not something I blame the movie for. I blame the moron in charge of who used to be in charge of the TV stuff. But what would be the third thing? I'm actually having trouble trying to figure out a third thing because of how much I enjoyed this movie. Maybe one niggling little detail. It's really more of a nitpick, but I need at least 3 things. Maybe I'll find a better one as we move into spoiler territory. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this movie. I recommend you go see it. It's great. It's fun. People will tell you it's a boring snore. Apparently. I've been on YouTube since it came out. But before I got a chance to go see it myself. I didn't watch the movies, but, you know, people like to clickbait their titles. I mean, I'm direct and honest about what my videos are. First impressions. And I make sure that people understand in the description, my opinions may have changed. In some cases, pretty heavily. I'm not going to go into them because that's off topic, but yeah. Right, okay. So, we open up the movie with, oh, hold on. I thought there we go. We open up the movie with, Captain Marvel's PTSD dream from before she was kidnapped and brainwashed. And I mean, I heard something about that ahead of time, so I'm not happy about having that spoiled for me, but even if not, I understood how heavily she was brainwashed and exactly what happened related to that. I mean, I understood immediately the scroll she saw in the nightmare was, of course, more likely a Kree. But Well, for one thing, I expected the Kree to be actual bad guys. And that's the niggling detail, by the way. I'll just say it now. I liked what they did with the scroll, but... And I understand why it happened. They already gave the scroll's role to Xandar before they had access to the scrolls. But, you know... I think they did a good job with what they did. I'm not entirely fond of doing it. But yeah. She's heavily brainwashed. Her powers are extremely weak, so all she's got is energy blasts at her hands and feet. She's barely in control of them. And being trained by her mentor figure. That asshole. But, yeah. They get a mission where they meet the Supreme Intelligence. But one of the things that I did like what they did was they made the Supreme Intelligence seem like it's revered in almost a religious way. And I really like that a lot. That's a really nice take, I think. I'm not sure if that's something they've done before in the comics, but I know it's not how they've always displayed it. But I really like the Supreme Intelligence is considered religious. I like that a lot. It really helps with the brainwashing film, which, yeah, no, they did a really good job with her. She 100% believes she's Kree. Something believable because on the surface she just looks like a pink Kree. And they've trained her to not use her powers overly much because, while her powers could be useful, they want her under control, not, they want her well under control before they let her have access to her full capabilities. So I was thinking she was going to get an upgrade from wherever she got the powers in the first place once that was revealed. Anyways, I'm skipping ahead of myself. So, they finally get a mission, and her and her team go off to a warrior world that is being invaded by the Skrull infiltrators. They go to rescue their spy, find a group of refugees where, for some reason, one of the Skrulls then somehow knew this one chick wouldn't have seen her friend yet, or just got really lucky with the form he picked. He still got shot for it, but he actually managed to stop her for a while, and then they shot and killed basically every Skrull there, except for the last one, which was actually the guy, which was particularly the guy they were coming to rescue. They took him down, they took most of them down, but he took her down. Took her while her guard was down. After her, began digging for her memories, trying to figure out who the fuck she was. And more importantly, how she knows the good doctor, what's her name? I forget what her fake ID is, but she's this movie's version of Captain Marvel. Who was fairly true to his character and being someone who turned against his people. Though that was originally for Earth and not for the Skrull, because again, the Skrulls were actually bad guys in the comics. They didn't start out that way. That was the Kree's fault, much like it was just here. It's just that in there, they repelled them much better and ended up in a centuries-long war that turned them, that eventually made them just as bad. And sorry, that bugged me. I like having that scroll. Anyways, Yeah, Captain Marvel, they were looking for Captain Marvel's true identity. Or fake identity, whatever. Where to find her and her stuff. Carol, or Veers, the only alien-sounding name in this movie I can actually remember, because it's literally just Danvers with the Dan cut off. I didn't get that until later, though. They're digging out her memory, trying to figure out what it is, and she thinks they've implanted memories because, of course, that's another life. That's not a non-Kree life. Why would she have a life like that when she's a Kree? She only listens to it all because she knows they're looking for someone important, and she knows that she knew that person. It's all she does know, but yeah. Being the kind of person Daryl does, she escapes by blowing them to a false security and then blowing off part of her shackles, eventually blowing them up completely, and then just barely managing to escape, all while also facing a lot of Skrull. She crash lands on Earth and lands on top of a blockbuster because it's the 90s. And after she accidentally shoots a pop-up, I'm pretty sure I saw the movie Hook hidden in the background of that scene, by the way. There were probably a bunch of other movies, but I saw Hook. Which is, memorable because I loved that movie as a kid. And I remember its cover art, its box cover, perfectly. And I'm 100% sure that was Hook. But yeah, she wanders through the blockbuster after having crash land on Earth. Asks a cop, because in a rather bluntly alien way, if he's the security officer for Earth, in charge of Earth, because, she thinks she just randomly stumbled across the guy in charge of Earth, or at least in charge of that district, and eventually asked him if he could get some communication parts. Rather believing what he's seeing is indeed an alien, given all the alien way about her, she goes, a moment, go back, during the battle on the planet with the Kree, nobody was smart enough to put their helmet on beforehand. I understand this is a thing with movies, but for God's sakes, keep your helmet on in a combat situation. I'm sorry, actors, that you want everybody to see your handsome face, but no! It's dumb, and it makes the characters you play look dumb. It makes you look dumb. For wanting that. Ugh. Sorry, that's a bugbear for me. I wouldn't call it a major thing I dislike with the movie just because it's more like a major thing I dislike in movies in general. Anyways, yeah. And where does the cop point her? Well, see, I already knew where this was going. Because I've read stuff like Animorphs as a kid. I knew exactly where the 90s go-to hotspot for tech was for advanced inventions and alien needs. Radio Shack! I'm like, oh, he's gonna point her to communication. Oh, Radio Shack. So I was happy with that. Oh, but I will say, I forgot to mention, when the Stan Lee thing happened, nearly the entire theater, it wasn't exactly the best day, a particularly packed theater, but still a lot of people in the theater clapped, including me. That was a well done homage to him, right there. But yeah. Anyways, so she raids the Radio Shack. hooks up to a telephone and uses that to boost her communication signal to get back to her boss. And Mentor tells her about what's happening, that the Skrull are looking for a light-speed drive to spread their cursed plague across the galaxy. And she's told to stay put. She doesn't, because, yeah, she's one of those people. She does what she thinks is best, even when other people tell her not to. Unfortunately, her long-distance thing messes up, on the payphone end, and she gets disconnected. Not long after, a young Phil Coulson, who does not get much coverage in this movie. People were excited, but yeah. I mean, it's not a surprise. He's basically he's going to be rookie as can be in this movie. Even if it contradicts Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. canon. I'll get to there. Right, so... yeah. Nick Fury, on the other end, who's got both eyes, which, wait, that's the thing I dislike. One of the things I dislike. It's the, whole, Nick Fury's got both eyes. I wonder how he's gonna lose them. Did he lose it in the car crash? Did he lose it there? Did he lose it there? Oh my god, the movie's over. I wonder how he's gonna get clawed out by a cat. And yes, I know, it's not a cat, but still. You're not funny, movie. I mean, you're funny, but you're funny in a dumb way, and I'm not happy. Ugh. It's such a waste of what could have been a badass moment. Other than that, no, Nick Fury's pretty great in this movie. He's a much younger, more energetic version of the same badass we know and love. So, yeah. I wasn't fond of that running joke. Anyways, Nick Fury shows up, questions her, she tries to leave, and he basically is, you're not leaving. And she's utterly shocked that these people don't know about all the stuff going on in space. And then a Kree sniper tries to kill her. Or at least tries to shoot her or knock her out. Ends up almost saying Fury. And we get into a running chase scene where she traces down the Skrull that did it. And Nick Fury gets to a car with Phil Coulson. It's actually a Skrull, of course. And he finds out when he gets home. He gets into a fight with the car, crashes and kills the Skrull and calls it into his bosses. Meanwhile, Coulson, all because Coulson called and said, "Hey, where'd you go?" And meanwhile, she chases him onto a train, gets into a fight on the train with the Skrull that looks like a granny. Well, people keep interfering, but she just decked a fucking granny. After having said hello to Stan Lee, of course, before that. Still, while she does manage to take the eye out, well, she does handle her own, and Randy does get away. They drop something that gives her some info before it burns out. And she loses track of the Kree because, well, he manages to blend in on the train long enough for, to disappear. Mostly by getting on top, moving around, and just disappearing. And when she thinks she's found him, it was actually just a normal person wearing similar clothes. And, yeah. So, she tries to track down from her memories, which she's not even sure are hers, the extremely slow 90s internet. Where old bar she used to hang out was, to try to find any clue about who she was. So Master on a bike hits on her, and she responds to... Well, actually, she ignores him up until he insults her, then she steals his bike when he's not looking, and along with a change of clothes to blend in. Because, you know, her outfit's not exactly good for blending in. So, yeah, she goes to the bar, has a flashback where she sees a bunch of images of what she used to do there, asks the guy, one of the guys running the bar, where a picture of the place she was part of, the project she was part of, was taken. And he didn't get it. He didn't really have an answer, but thankfully Nick Fury did. Nick Fury got the guy to leave, and they had a frank discussion about Skrulls, where they proved that they weren't Skrulls. Nick Fury talked about a bunch of aspects of, you know, things he likes, things he does, things he knows, and asked to make up an absurd detail that a Skrull couldn't possibly come up with that has to be true about the person. Apparently, he won't eat toast if it's sliced diagonally. I really do love what they did with Nick Fury in the movie, though it's not one of my favorite moments. No, wait, actually it was. Yeah, it was one of my favorite moments. Sorry, I briefly forgot there. I'm just trying to remember how the movie goes here. Anyways. So yeah. After consulting and agreeing to work together, they head off to, the place where she used to work, Project Pegasus, to find out about the infinite Lightyear drive that Captain Marvel was working on. They talk. Fury says his full name, Nicholas Joseph Fury. Whereupon asked about it, he explained that everyone calls him Fury. Your mom? Fury. What do you call your mom? Fury. What are you gonna call what about your kids? Well, if I ever have any, I'll call them Fury. But yeah, they get in, ask about stuff, and get stonewalled because, you know, people there don't want to say anything. And after neither one of them can get through the thumbprint scanner, Fury had a brief moment where he texts his mom on his pager. It's actually S.H.I.E.L.D. And then he does this brief little spy work where he gets some tape to lift an imprint off his ID that was checked by a dude and use it to run the scanner. They go through, try to find their way through, and hey, they find a cat. A cat. And Nick Fury gets distracted, calling it a nice key and stuff before, he gets encouraged to move along. So they find the records. And Fury pulls out the tape again. Don't worry, I got this. Just let me unfold. And he goes, you could do that the whole time, and you let me play with tape. Play around with tape. It says, well, it looks like you were having a moment there. Seriously, Marvel and Fury's chemistry on screen was excellent. Danvers and Fury's chemistry was great. They played off each other wonderfully. Because she's exactly the kind of person he'd look for in an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. She literally fit in with the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. cast perfectly. But yeah. So yeah, they go into the records, find the stuff, and while most of it's redacted, they do find someone alive who knew the pilot who went with the Captain Marvel. Discover she's a Kree via Kree's writings. Fury thinks she's crazy at first, and find the plans for the plane, and most importantly, Carol sees a picture of her. Unfortunately, Shield arrives and reveals that they've replaced the director with a scroll. The current director, anyways. Fury figures this out because they call him Nicholas, but he also checks if they know by referencing events that never happened in a plan, just to be doubly sure. Unfortunately, the scroll isn't stupid and figured out that Fury actually was testing him. And ambushes him while he tries to warn Danvers. She comes to his rescue. They escape in a plane that she knows how to pilot because she used to do. It's one of the few things she's kept, and they discover one of the hitchhikers was the cat. Goose. So he corresponds with the cat a lot, again, before she shows us the picture. So they go off, fly to find her old friend in Louisiana, who's got a kid, called her Aunt Carol. There's a lot of good dynamics between the kid and Aunt Carol. But yeah. They have a talk. She finds out more about her past and what happened with the project. Ultimately coming and her seeing a bunch of pictures about her past that do actually end up helping trigger memories. Not first, but they do. And then a neighbor shows up while the kids go getting Marvel's jacket. Old jacket that she kept. Carol is, of course, super duper, absolutely suspicious of the guy at the door, thinking he's a Skrull. And it's just kind of addicted to it. Pointlessly, as it turns out, the guy she thought he was already in the house and undisguised. Says you really should be nicer to your neighbors. He then reveals through several things that, it says that he just wants to talk. Calmly and peacefully and all that. No deception. Of course, just prior to that, he revealed that they had a Kree pretending to be the girl, her old friend, is outside with the little girl. But that's just so they don't kill him. He has no intention of harming the kid. He just wants to, make sure they hesitate. So he implies that, he reveals that he's gotten a hold of, he has some great banter. It's fairly funny to see. It reveals he's got a disc with, the information, some recordings from the black box that they supposedly couldn't find from the project. He wants Carol to listen to it. And yeah, they do actually call him out on his no deception, even though he's got someone out there pretending to be the kid's mom. After Carol agrees, he calls them in. Of course, the kid's mom friends that if anything goes wrong, she'll put her foot where it really doesn't belong. leaving the scroll to go, am I supposed to guess? Because he doesn't understand what she's insinuating. Which is up his ass. Full on Red Foreman style. Oh, sorry. Okay. Anyways, yeah. She watches the video, listens to the recording, and has full flashback, finally remembering all the details that happened that day. Her Captain Marvel gets shot before she can blow up the engine, hiding the location of the core. She picks up the gun, points it at the scroll, which is actually her Kree mentor, and when he resolves, well, there's really no reason to keep you alive then, she, through quick thinking, manages to get him to lower the gun long enough for her to turn and shoot the engine that could lead them to the core. She thinks it is the core, but, it explodes and it washes her in blue cosmic energy. Not directly cosmic energy here, but you get the point. Leaving her crackling with it. He decides to take her back with her because, she's been exposed to it. They might not be able to find it, but she could be a useful weapon. And, that's what happened. With it comes back her other memories. At first, she's not exactly keen to help the scroll, even though she has no reason to really distrust them at this point. Because, well, she doesn't even really remember who she is. Oh, she remembers pieces of her old life, but not a lot. Thankfully, her friend is there to remind her who she once was, who she really is. And for that, she agrees to work with the scroll. She also remembers what she used to call the kid. So while the scroll are off modifying her jet to be able to go up into space, because, see, they were thinking that the location of the thing was on Earth, so they needed to find the coordinates. No, it was in orbit. It was cloaked in orbit. The core. So yeah. So while that's happening, people are talking things out. She confiscates Fury's pager. And there's a lot of fun about her. She managed to convince the mom, her former best friend to go with her. Because it's exactly the kind of thing she would have done before. And the kid helps her pick out a new color scheme. I don't really get to see most of what comes during that scene, and immediately after, unfortunately, I was getting a refill. And, but I do know it eventually involves with the Kree showing up and shooting Marvel, only to reveal it's actually a Kree. So they go up, manage to find a place of where the core is kept. They find, not only do they find a bunch of Skrull living there in secret, but they also find the Tesseract, the core, which is a nice twist. We always assumed it was just that S.H.I.E.L.D. dug it up when they found Captain Marvel. In reality, it was Marvel and Captain America. No, it was Marvel who found it. It was using the power of her spaceships to try to get the Skrull out of this galaxy as far away as they can, so they could have a life outside of this frickin' war with the asshole Kree. They managed to talk to Skrulls into trusting her because she's still wearing a Kree uniform, even if she's changed color. And they put the Tesseract in a box. She touches it completely fine because that's where she got her powers from. It's like Scarlet Witch touching the Mind Stone. And it makes sense. Scarlet Witch is OP hacks in every continuity. Unsurprisingly, so is Captain Marvel. This time, she's powered by the Stay Stone instead of absorbing cosmic radiation. Because they have the scroll, they don't have other stuff from the Fantastic Four. Well, I mean they do, but I don't think they did when they were making this movie. Or maybe they just didn't want to enter it that way. That's always a short chance. But, yeah. So the people show up. The Kree show up. Disable her powers with the limiter they've had on her the entire time. And get everyone in intimidation. While they're leading her off to talk to the Supreme Leader, there are some scenes where they're scanning the cat, which I remind you, every person, every scroll every alien that met the cat has been treating it like it's this dangerous creature called a blah 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 blah. I don't remember. Which it was. This moment when they scanned the cat as high threat level, scan fury, human, low threat level. And he goes, clearly that thing's busted. Well, we were right, they didn't properly categorize how much of a threat level Nick goddamn motherfucking Fury was. But yeah. They've got the Tesseract, they're going to execute all the scrolls. Oh, I forgot to mention the fact that while they were looking for this, they were actually, the Kree soldiers were actually trying to keep the accusers, led by Ronan, from showing up on Earth and wrecking it like they've done everywhere else the Skrull are. Even outright lying to command, because, so they're not completely horrible people, they're just soldiers who have been brainwashed into fighting their war. But yeah, they drag her off to go talk to the Supreme Intelligence again. And there's a battle of wills in her mind. The Supreme Intelligence brings up, we gave you your powers. No, you fucking did. Yes, but we are the ones who gave you control of them. We can take that away. And through that, we can take them away. Before we found you, you were only human and blah blah blah. Carol fondly resounded, you're right. I am only human. Like, and a similar man from Fullmetal Alchemist. Literally. What's so fucking wrong with being only human? They show her all her failures, all her weakness. And then she flashes back immediately to, after all that weakness, to pulling herself back up and trying again. And through that, she manages to override their control and gain access to her full capabilities. I thought she just absorbed the Tesseract. And here's another favorite moment of mine. I believe it was the second one. The beat down that ensures. She becomes glowing with what is essentially starfire, I'm going to say. I'm not sure how to exactly describe it. Burns through the Supreme Intelligence Control and he delivers a good threat to it, breaks free, and gains ability to fly. And then she just soundly kicks the ass of everybody there. Her old mentor uses some gravity gun thing that'll pin her down for a bit, but that doesn't last. She just stumps some fucking mud hole, all while being a distraction to let the Tesseract, which is no longer in the lunchbox she put it in, and Fury and the Skrull escape. Though, furiously, because Fury's smart enough not to touch it, because we've seen what happens to every person who's physically touched it with their bare hands, who isn't Carol Danvers, because, she's got powers now. Don't worry, the cat thing ate it, and that was revealed that it wasn't just a cat. Massive tentacles shoot out and just eat it. So yeah. Then they get cornered. But yeah, Fury and the friend get cornered. the Kree gun they were using to escape stops working. But don't worry, the cat's got their back and proceeds to eat all of the enemy soldiers. They run into a bunch of other soldiers. Again, unfortunately, the cat doesn't want to do it. And it's even friendly with the enemy soldier. One of the enemy soldiers. Turns out it's actually a Skrull that it could detect. The Skrull leans into Fury and mentions the same thing he used to test the same Skrull when he was pretending to be the director. So, yeah, they wait, kick the butts of all the Kree, and get their Skrull onto a ship to escape with the Tesseract. One of the enemy soldiers, unfortunately, does manage to shoot the Skrull but not kill him. So they're on a big firefight on the plane-turned spaceship throughout Earth's atmosphere while trying, and, you know, some deserted desert locations. They manage to shoot down one of the enemy planes through clever flying, but they still get shot. Unfortunately for them, Marvel's been followed them. And while she does briefly get shot off the plane by her commander before she can blast him himself, she remembers, hey, I can fly, and uses her newfound powers to basically kick lots of ass. Shoots her mentor's plane down herself, and then goes up to deal with the accusers who come into orbit, are putting a barrier around Earth, and then are going to basically nuke the site from orbit. Her response is to grab the nukes, turn around, and throw them back! And boom, 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 boom. Everything explodes. It says, that's impossible. This planet doesn't have a defense grid. My response is, it does now! Or a defense grid good enough to deal with this. It does now. We see Carol shoot up, and then proceed to single-handedly destroy an entire ship herself, firmly supplanting her as the most powerful person in this series right now. The only character who might be on par with her is fucking Thor right now with that goddamn war pick. His new, the axe pick. Stormbreaker, that's it. The only character that could be on par with her. And maybe Scarlet Witch, but she's dead at the moment. It's just such a great moment. She completely shatters through the spaceship, demolishing it. Then appears in front of the eye, powers up completely, and then creates this explosion around her. Just to emphasize that she could keep going, and they're got no chance of beating her. Ronan calmly thinks over the situation, turns around, and says, run. Tells the guy to turn around and leave. They'll be back for the weapon. The core? No. The woman. And leave. We know they don't, because, we know what happens to Ronan. So yeah, she flies down, finds her old mentor, and he's prepared, got his gun out and stuff, ready to shoot her, even though at this point she's on full power. There's literally nothing he can do. There, yeah, ready to fight, and she says, I'm proud of you. Puts the gun away, and then gets into that old cliche from action movies where they eat the mentor, who turns out to be an enemy, is proud that they, that they're actually willing to do the stuff they're doing. But wants to have one final match to finally prove they're ready to them, that they're ready to go on. Like they always told him, if you can manage to beat me without your powers and stay in control, you'll prove to me you're ready. Alright, he gets really good. He gets pumped up for this little sparring match. blasted into a mountain. She walks up to him and says, I don't have anything to prove to you. Ah, I love that. Nothing better than... It's always been weird that you have to prove to the mentor. Yeah, he's their mentor, but he's also the jackass who kidnapped her, tried to murder her for no reason, on multiple occasions, and did a lot of other bad shit. He's the reason she's brainwashed. Hey, she doesn't have to give a shit. She doesn't give a shit what he thinks about her. Offers her hand like she's gonna pick him up. He grabs it and then cut to her dragging him across the ground back to his spaceship. Puts him in and tells him that he's going to go back to Hala and gives the Supreme Intelligence a message. That she's coming to start the war. You can't do this? Oh yeah? Watch me. Uses her power to turn on his spaceship and to send him back. From the rest of the episode, things are nice and calm, everything's good and happy. Fury's laughing, yay, we did it, yay! Who's a good kid? Who's a good kid? Ah, fuck! And his eyes destroyed. I'm just like, that's so disappointing. It is kind of humorous, but it like I said, I'm not entirely happy. I'm not happy with that. I'm in the wrong run. I wasn't even sure if he lost, if it actually took his eye out or not. I thought they might have been fucking with us again until the later scene with the glass eye. But yeah, they go back. Marvel agrees. Says she wants to help the Skrulls find a world of their own far away to continue the old Marvel's work. Yeah, she played the Kagakuri apparently after her work's done in the stars, because she's going to help them, and then she's going to go stop this war. She gives Fury back his pager, which she's upgraded to be able to send a message to her. Says goodbye to the kid, her old friend and the kid, and then flies off into the distance, along with the Skrulls in the ship. And then and Carol decides the best place to keep the Tesseract would be on Earth. Meanwhile, we get to the last scene of the movie, which is before the post-credit scenes, which has Fury in his office typing up what he's calling the Protector Initiative, before changing it to the Avenger Initiative after he sees the word Avenger on Carol's old plane. Which is, much better name for that project, I think. Coulson, who's still a young rookie. I forgot to mention, Coulson caught them on the stairwell on the way out, but let them go because he because he obviously realized something was fucking up here. And helped them get away. After it's all over, Coulson asked him if it's true that the Kree were so angry at him they burned out his eye. And he says, I'm not confirming, and Fury responds, I'm not confirming or denying what happened. Because, if he'd confirmed it, he'd be lying. But, on the other hand, he doesn't exactly want to tell people he lost his eye to a cat scratch. It says that then mentions that the Tesseract will turn up. And that, of course, they need to find more heroes. Yeah, do you think we can find more? We found her and we weren't even looking. And it takes them a long while, but they do. They manage to find enough people to assemble a team. And, yeah. He says the Tesseract will turn up and everything, and the movie ends. Now, I do, before we get to the post-credits, I wanted to. Whoa, almost knocked something over. Now my deck's getting con shit. Okay, like, one of my favorite moments, like I said, was when she fully powers up and proceeds to just stomp an absolute butthole at everyone. She's one of the most powerful people in this cosmos, and I fucking love it. Like, I think I said it, I was not going in this movie 100% sure I'd end up liking the main character, precisely because of how awful her comic book counterpart is. They did a good job selling me on that. But yeah. Second thing I'd like to talk about is... Well, one of the things I just really disliked is the incompatibilities with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Well, while it's never directly stated, it's heavily implied that, I don't think so anyways, that in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. canon, Fury was already the director when Coulson started out. He even gave a big speech about working together to become part of something greater and everything. I forget the exact details. There was even a big joke about it when he showed up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 1 at the end. One of the best moments of that season. And worked together with Coulson. It was great. He showed up twice there. All of it was great. But a lot of that just seems kind of incompatible with what they do with them elsewhere. Here. But, you know, I don't blame that on the movie. I blame it on the a-hole who runs the TV show chunk of the MCU and deliberately ensured it wouldn't connect. I also blame him for the cancellation of the Netflix shows, because, at least partly him, because those could have been so much better if they had actually been part of the rest of the MCU instead of sectioned off. They barely even interacted with the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is such a disappointment. But yeah, we get two post-credit scenes. The first is post-snap. We're at the Avengers headquarters. Everyone's working on trying to figure out what to do and such. It's a shitty situation. They're all trying to gather up forces, everything, or whatever. They're all preparing for the events of Endgame. When suddenly, Nick Fury's messenger, pager, turns off. They found it on his stuff. Ultimately, Black Widow says they should reboot it and start it up again. Because even though they don't know who it leads to, Nick Fury clearly did, and he trusted them enough to call for them in this situation. I didn't like that. I was, at the end of Infinity War, I was thinking, yeah, it was part of S.H.I.E.L.D. or even a part of S.W.O.R.D. No, she's just completely disconnected. I like that. Not where I was expecting it to go. But yeah, he calls up his old friend in exactly the emergency situation she always said thought it was. Because I think that, yeah, this is definitely worse than the normal one. But, and convinces the other to do it. Anyways, Black Widow convinces the other to do it. She turns around, and then, oh, hey, Carol! Right behind her, where's Fury? And that cuts it out. I am utterly hyped for Endgame. Which, by the way, again, this is the first time I've been to these movies since they came out. Since, Dark World. It's been too long, and I'm dang determined to stay up to date with them. I'm just so glad I didn't miss it this time. I almost did! By the way, I was not feeling well today. After my previous recordings, I was just not feeling well, so I took a nap for a while, and then, yeah. Almost overslept. But still. Anyways, for the final credit scene, for the post-credit scene, Which, by the way, yes, people were leaving the theater even after the first post-credit scene. And I said out loud, before the first post-credit scene even started, you people don't remember there are post-credit scenes here, right? 10 years and people are still leaving early. Anyways, yeah. I haven't even used my notes. They help me remember just by writing them down, honestly. Considering how much, gibberish some of these are. I spelled I was Y-Y-E at one point. I can barely see what I'm doing. Anyways, the final credit scene. We cut to the cat. Still in Fury, the cat thing. Still in Fury's office. We went from early 90s computer to mostly to mid 2000s computer. I'm not sure when exactly Avengers 1 happened. And then the cat goes until and spits it out like a hairball. And that's how they recover the Tesseract, people. It spat out like a hairball on Fury's desk. Which explains why it took them so long to start militarizing it, but, you know, doesn't really explain why he was dumb enough to do it. It's another thing. You think after what happened, he would have gone known to try to use it for non-military purposes. Nope, he wants research weapons. Then again, he was still taking orders from everyone else, so... Yeah. I'm just wondering how this will this and Endgame will interact with seasons of 6 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Which I do really do, which honestly, even the end of Season 5 didn't really gel well with Infinity War. But it was still a freaking fantastic ending to everything, and I don't really think the show should have been brought back. Still, I'm hoping that at least they'll have some way. Now, I am one of those people who thinks Endgame is going to result in everyone getting brought back. I do think that, you know, Doctor Strange had a plan when he gave away the Time Stone. That he said he would sacrifice their lives to save it. And then he sacrificed it to save their lives. It doesn't fit. What changed? He saw the only path to the future to save everyone. And the only thing that makes sense is that they have to let him get a hold of the gauntlet in order for them to get a hold of the complete gauntlet, or for them to get a hold of the gauntlet and use its powers to resurrect everybody he's already killed. To undo everything Thanatos and his crazy awesomeness accomplished. And yeah, another thing, I completely missed the part of the last movie. I must have blinked or something when they showed Thanatos will return. Thanos, not Thanatos. Thanos will return in Avengers. Like he was the motherfucking main character, which he was. He was the main character of that movie, and he was, as far as he was concerned, the hero. Now, I'll say this, and leading up to Endgame, I'm glad they didn't show an Endgame trailer in the movie, because I've deliberately gone out of my way to not watch those. I saw a brief 2-second clip with Iron Man fiddling with his shit, probably trying to call home. But yeah, I love this movie. It was fantastic, an enjoyable watch. Great fun. I know some people, at least one person is saying it's a boring snore. I have no idea why you would think that, why anyone would think that, but it's not like I agree with people's opinions about other things. I like that. I didn't even watch the review. I didn't want it spoiled for me. This movie, though, was utterly fantastic. And I loved it. I loved the way they did things in it. I really love the mudhole stomp, and I like Carol Danvers' character. That was the most important thing, liking her character. It's not the best of the Marvel movies, I'm not going to say that, but it's definitely not the worst. That goes to Homecoming. Well, no. Homecoming's an amazing Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. It's an absolutely terrible Peter Parker movie. Like I've said before, they changed him too much. That wasn't Peter Parker in that movie. It misses the fundamental point of the character. Much like the guy who was writing the comic for the last decade, I think, also missed the fundamental point of the character. And that is, Spider-Man is the guy who does does the right thing, no matter what, even when literally everything goes wrong for him, always. No matter what he does, things don't go right for him. Karma doesn't work with Spider-Man. Bad stuff just happens to him. He picks himself off the dust and does it anyways. In that movie, though, he's got too many people looking out for him, trying for the beginning of the movie to really start off with bad things happen to him even when he does the right thing. Partly because he doesn't do the right thing in the beginning of the movie. It's just, I'm not excited for Spider-Man Far From Home, whatever the heck happens in that movie, but I'm hoping that whatever it does, it cuts him off from supporting everything from anyone but Aunt May, and gives him a chance to really bloom into Peter Parker. I'm still against the whole making Spider-Man a teenager again thing, let alone a young teenager. I was really hoping for a adult Peter. Sorry, bad enough they barely acknowledged his Spidey sense in the movie. But, anyways. But I did like him in Infinity War, so, they can do a good job with him. They just didn't do it there. Anyways, yeah. Great movie, great time. I really recommend going to see it. Really should have watched it before I did the spoiler thing, because I basically just spelled out the entire plot of the movie. But, that bit. Like I said, there were things I disliked, but there were a lot of things I did, and I absolutely loved the full power beatdown. And I cannot wait to see that power at work and in-game. Anyways, I've done enough talking here. HighPriest signing out. I will see you all next time, folks.